to Politico Playbook co-author Anna Palmer, Fox Business's Charlie Gasparino. Anna, what do you think of what he's saying?
Well, look, this is something that is going well for Trump, right? So he likes to focus on that, but it's kind of a distraction. The president, he's been trying to take credit for this, and I think what you were saying earlier is right. It could be a very dangerous game if there is any kind of pullback in the market. So I don't think that the press can that we can definitely walk and chew gum. There on Twitter yesterday when it hit the 25,000 and went over it, it was blowing up on that. But this book is really kind of a pretty astounding, an inside look into the White House, and that's where, of course, all the focus is going to be.
You and I were saying during the break, Charlie, that it is uncanny, whether the president's design or whether it just is his fate, that every time there's good news, like on the day of the tax cut thing, and then Mark Warner comes out suspecting the president better not fire Mueller, or now with the Dow 25,000 and this fire and fury, outside events or the president himself step on the good news.
Yeah, he does it more often than I think the outside events, which is unfortunate because he's right. Purely from a news standpoint, I don't know how any journalist can compare somebody calling the president an effing idiot, the news value of that, to the news value of Dow 25,000. Listen, I'm all for tabloid stuff. I'm a tabloid guy. I worked at the Wall Street Journal. I write for the New York.
But the book's about a lot more than effing idiot, right?
If you think about it substantively, what is it? Now, I haven't read the book. I'm going by the excerpts, and Michael is a great writer. I know Michael Wolff pretty well. But what has he said really substantively about the president that's so damning, other than, Sam Nunberg saying maybe he's sick of listening to, he didn't want to read the Constitution. Sam's a friend of mine. I know Sam. And by the way, if you talk to Sam, that anecdote was taken a little bit out of context. I know a lot of people who said that their anecdotes were either taken out of context or made up. I know at least one guy, I'm not going to say his name, he's telling me he's seriously going to think about suing Michael Wolff for essentially putting something in there that he never said, or at least that. So I'm just going to say this. The worst thing we got from this book is that people in the White House don't think the president is very smart, but that's not substantive. And by the way, if he was so stupid, why did the few little things that he did continue the stock market rally and the economy, which was slowing down?
You raise a good point. Anna, it can always be said we've had brilliant presidents, not so smart presidents, but I always think, to paraphrase Bill Clinton, to get to this office, you can't be an idiot. He got to this office, he defied expectations, he beat the best of the best Republican field. That was then, this is now. But the sentiment you get from this book and the read that it's getting, certainly in the media, is that those around the president don't think he's up to the job. How does he counter that impression? Other presidents have started out in a bumpy fashion, but they've not been cursed by a tell-all book so early in their presidency. But what do you make of the impact of this?
Yeah, I don't know that there's a long-term impact. I think this is certainly very salacious. And I would say what it is you really saw that kind of those first 6 months, a lot of the staffers that are no longer in the White House are the people that were the sources for this book, the infighting, that has really, I think, been tamped down quite a bit.
And by the way, a lot of it having to do, and we mentioned this at the time, I think you were a guest at the time, with the fighting over the crowd size at the inauguration. Right. And there was poor Sean Spicer trying to say it was bigger than Barack Obama. But that started it, I think. That's when the pylon started. But, so much we'll never know. But do you think any of this sticks? I guess that's what I'm asking.
Yeah, I think the question is going to be, does it stick with the American public? It's obviously getting bought a lot. And so is this going to be the impression that, people don't have any confidence, they don't think he's smart? And I think the way that whether or not you're going to see, can he move past this and how does he move past it? Is this erratic behavior on Twitter, on other things?
Suppose at least 60% of the book is debunked. There is a real possibility of that. And here's the thing. Again, I like Michael a lot. He did not check the other side of the quotes a lot of times. He did not call Mr. Murdoch and say, Mr. Murdoch, did you call Donald Trump an effing whatever?
Do we know he didn't do that?
There is no quote. Well, here's the thing. Maybe they didn't call him back, but there is no quote in there.
So I'll ask you what I asked Anna. Do you think this will have any impact beyond just the salacious short-term attention it is? Because I think it proves a narrative for those who don't like the president. Say, we always suspected as much. And for those who think the media is being unfair, this will be another case
I think the
that.
Bannon stuff is probably pretty solid because Bannon let him in the White House. I think the Roger Ailes stuff is really solid because I know Roger was cooperating. At least this is what I heard. As a matter of fact, I heard Roger actually brought him in with Bannon. This was Roger's idea to get him in there.
By the way, what happens to Bannon now?
his fate is in the air, from what I understand. Like the board, he doesn't own the majority share of Breitbart. He owns a piece.
Yeah.
I don't know the ownership structure, but it's the Mercers and Breitbart's widow, and they are, from what I understand, right now deliberating on whether to get rid of him. But if 60 to 70% of this book is debunked, which I am telling you, they're out there trying to do that right now, I don't think there'll be any impact.